We are now on a 6-0 run in the MLB. Let's talk some more baseball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and that's right, baby. You see that smile on my face, a 4-0 sweep yesterday, 6-0 run now. We're starting to gain some momentum in the positive finally. We'll go over the recap in just a little bit. Quick reminder, NBA Best Bets video for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is out now, so be sure to check it out. I have my 2 best bets for that game. But of course, any graphics you see in this video are from an app called OUTLIER, the best betting research tool on the market today. Click that link below. You get a 7-day free trial. So let's get into it. I got an MLB fun fact to start us off today. So dating back to 1876, the lowest batting average in the league, in the major leagues, in one season is last season, and 2022. They all sit at a 243 average. That's the average batting average for all major league teams. That's right. We are in a very low batting average time in baseball. You guys probably already knew that, but it's pretty crazy when you go through all the numbers and all that. So 243 is the lowest, and we've had it 3 the last 4 years. So in this video, we're going to recap yesterday, a beautiful day, and then we're going to go over the good and bad hitter matchups, and then the pitcher strikeout matchups, and then we are finally heading back out to the pen, giving you a little bullpen report, and then we're going to give you the full pitcher report and the best bets and finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way to 40,000 subscribers. All right, let's get this baseball journey rolling, and that means it's recap time. All right, there it is, a beautiful 4-0 sweep. Love those green check marks. Red Sox moneyline make it 2 in a row, fading the Sunday Night Baseball road team, traveling the next day. It's been 2+ money winners with the Cardinals over the Phillies, now the Red Sox over the Mets. And those two teams were sluggish offensively, scoring a combined 3 runs in those last two. But either way, Red Sox got it done. Played a good game here. Overall, bullpen came in, got the job done. Jarren Duran was a monster. Senga finally gave up some runs early. And we got a win. So Royals team total under 3.5 runs. They had 0 till like the 8th inning, and they ended up with 3. So made it a little sweaty, but still nice winner there. Phillies team total over 4.5. D-backs over 2.5. D-backs got it in the second inning. No problem. Phillies were stressing me out. They had 0 after 5 or 6 innings. And then, of course, the Rockies bullpen, the gift that keeps on giving, absolutely just got demolished. Schwarber hit his 300th bomb off the upper deck. It was just... Trey Turner hit a huge home run. So either way, they got the job done. Nice winner for the 1-unit play. And the only added play I had, I didn't love the slate, but Ryan Pepiot over 17.5 outs, we got the job done. Another Rays pitcher. He got hit around a little bit. Didn't look exactly sharp, but still made it 6 innings. So love to see it. That's what we got for the bets recap on Monday, and all the breakdowns. You can see the game bets have been the best so far, up almost 4 units, with the overall record now up 1.6 units. It is about dang time there is a plus in front of that. So anyways, that's all we got. Now, let's talk the hitter matchups. All right, if you're wondering why my beautiful face isn't in the corner again, well, Ryan's internet actually just was not working for us. So I'm trying to hurry up and record this starting late. And yeah, anyways, we're making it work, but you're going to see my face not here for the research slides. Either way, DJ LeMahieu, 22 for 58 with 6 bombs off Patrick Corbin. We got a lot of great matchups today, to be honest with you. Cody Bellinger, 8 for 20 off Patrick Corbin. How about Tyler Stevenson, 8 for 15 with 2 bombs off Bailey Falter. And they got Bryce Harper. The Phillies are facing, batting practice, let's face it. Trey Turner, 7 for 15. Spencer Steer, 7 for 14 off Bailey Falter. You got Pete Alonso, 4 home runs off Walker Buehler. That's right. And you know, I've seen some websites that don't know a pitcher yet for Boston, but some have Walker Buehler, so just check that out. But Pete Alonso's hit him well. And then Rowdy Tellez, a couple bombs off Bryce Wilson. Over to the right, Wilmer Flores, who's hitting the ball great this month. He is also 7 for 14 with 3 bombs off Michael Lorenzen. And then you just keep going down, 6 for 13, Real Muto. Schwarber, 3 for 10. A lot of Phillies here. C.J. Abrams, Xander Bogaerts, 5 for 9 with a home run. And then another Reds against Bailey Falter and Javi Baez, 4 for 8 with 2 bombs off of Eric Fetty. So, a lot to work with there if you like hitters. But now let's check out the cold hitter matchups. And there's only 3. Nothing big. Jose Iglesias, 1 for 16, 5 Ks. Nido, whatever. For the Tigers, 0 for 12, 6 Ks, and Miles Straw. No one was betting these 3 guys anyways, but I was just doing my due diligence. So, that's what we got for the bad hitters. Now, let's take a look at the strikeouts. All right, I got 2 good pitcher strikeout matchups. If you're new to the channel, I like to mention the highest strikeout pitchers versus the highest strikeout teams. So Sometimes you have a high strikeout pitcher like we have a few, like Tariq Skubal and stuff, but they're not exactly facing high strikeout teams. Doesn't mean you don't bet on them or anything. But Gavin Williams at the Twins. This is technically game 2 now. They're continuing game 1 from the rain out yesterday. But Gavin Williams at the Twins. Twins 11th highest K percentage versus righties, 22.4%. This one was on the border if I add it or not, but I'll just give it to you guys. Williams, 51 Ks in 42 innings this year. He's had 9, 8, and 6 Ks in the last 3 starts. 7+ Ks now in 5 of his last 7. But he does have a lower K rate on the road, 23% compared to 31% at home. Almost exactly the same K rate splits righties and lefties. He did face Minnesota last month, and he only lasted 2 innings and had 2 Ks. So it's really hard to take much from that. Other than that, he just didn't pitch very well. And then Jesus Luzardo at the Rockies. Colorado's 6th highest K percentage versus lefties at 27.3%. Luzardo, 57 Ks in 54 innings. He hasn't been just a super high strikeout guy, but he's been decent. Like as you can see, more than a K an inning. Luzardo has between 4 and 6 Ks in 6 of his last 7 starts. So he's sitting right in there pretty consistently. Higher K rate on the road, though, 28.3%, 24.4 at home. Obviously, Coors Field is a different animal. Ridiculously higher K rate versus lefties. This is wild to me. 46.6% K rate versus lefties compared to 18.6 versus righties. Just insane. And Jesus has not faced the Rockies since 2023 when he had 13 Ks, but that wasn't even in Coors Field. So it's really hard to see how he's done at Coors Field or anything. But that's what we got for the 2 best pitcher strikeout matchups. And now let's head out to the pen. All right, I like to do these once every few weeks or so. You guys asked for it. These are the top and bottom 7 bullpens, and since it's been about 3 weeks, I'm just going to do this in the month of May. So these are the top and bottom 7. Now, you're going to see the best ERAs. This is an order of ERAs, but I also have Sierra, one of those predictive. As you can see on the bottom, it stands for Skill Interactive Earned Run Average. It eliminates factors the pitcher can't control himself and helps predict ERA moving forward, somewhat similar to like expected ERA, xFIP, that kind of stuff. But anyways, the Twins have the number 1 bullpen in the major leagues this month. I mean, they've been good. We know that. They got some arms down there. At 2.38, Sierra is still elite. 1.74 ERA, blowing the competition out. That's why they won a million games in a row also. But how about the Cardinals? Twins and Cardinals, 2 of the hottest teams in the majors. No surprise, their bullpens are the number 1 and number 2. But a 3.67 Sierra, we do expect some negative regression there. Giants, 2.7 ERA. Then we got the Mets, Astros, Mariners, and Royals. Those are the top 7, and you see their Sierras. Mets, getting a little lucky. 2.78 ERA, 4.34 Sierra. They're not usually a top 3, top 4 bullpen, but then you go over to the bottom 7 bullpens, and it's not pretty, that's for sure. Nationals, 5.2 ERA. Orioles, 5.3. Nothing is working in Baltimore. And Pittsburgh, not only can you not hit, Pittsburgh fans, they also can't pitch out of the bullpen. 5.68 ERA, 3.93 Sierra. And then Padres, the number 1 bullpen in the major leagues leading up to May, and then they have just absolutely crashed and burned. They will not stay here in the bottom 5. They are too good, but right now, 6.75 ERA in the month of May. A's 8.43, but cannot be outdone by the Anaheim Los Angeles Angels of Disneyland. 10.17 ERA. That is insane. But the highest Sierra on the board is the A's at 4.52. So hopefully this just kind of helps you out. Again, you want to look at who the best arms are. Have they thrown the day before and stuff like that when you're kind of handicapping full game money lines and things like that. So that's what we got for the pen. Now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, these are the first 8 matchups of the day, starting out with Nick Martinez versus Bailey Falter. Martinez, 2 or less earned runs given up in 4 or 5 starts. Falter giving up 3 earned runs in 5 innings versus Cincy earlier. But we're going to talk more about those pitchers a little bit later. Then Jameson Taillon versus Ryan Weathers, another game we're going to talk about later. Clay Holmes been pitching well in his first full season as a starter, going up against Walker Buehler, who we know, has been hit and miss. But lately he was pitching well, but then he just got hurt. First start back, hard to know what to expect here. But I see Spencer Strider for the Braves, making, I think, his only 2nd start of the year. Made 1 start and then got injured. So, again, check it. I've seen some websites that don't have any pitchers still for Atlanta. And then Mitchell Parker, holy cows, he's struggling. 4+ earned runs given up in 4 straight starts. And then we have Walter for Houston. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about him. He's barely pitched in the major leagues. So that's why you see no numbers. He's never pitched this year. So Zach Littell, 4.31 ERA. He's a 4.5 ERA kind of guy. Doesn't miss a lot of bats. And then Patrick Corbin, he's been decent. I don't know what else to tell you guys. He is, 4.8 expected ERA. He's not as good as he's been pitching, but still, he's been better than he was. Will Warren, a guy who's missed some bats, 27.9% K rate, but Texas does have a low K rate. And then Dylan Cease versus Bassett Hound. Cease, 2 or less earned runs given up now in 7 of 9 starts. That ERA has ballooned a little because of one bad start earlier in the year. And then Bassett, he is starting to come back down to earth. If you remember, he had like a 1 ERA. He was dominating, now giving up 3 or more earned runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. And then we got Gavin Williams facing Chris Paddock, who's having one of the best years of his career right now, or if not the best, giving up 2 or less earned runs in 6 of his last 7 starts. You see Gavin Williams, who we talked about before, does have a good K rate with 27.3%, but also a high walk rate at 12.8. So that's what we got for the first 8 matchups. Now let's take a look at the last 7 matchups, actually. No pitcher yet named for my Seattle Mariners going up against the White Sox. Bryce Wilson. That's just a yucky game right now. But Keegan Aiken for Baltimore, he's just an opener. And then Logan Henderson, this will be his 3rd start in the majors. 2 good starts this season so far versus Cleveland and the A's. He's not going to be a 40% K rate guy, but he did strike out a lot of guys in the minors as well, so he can miss some bats. Skubal, best pitcher on planet Earth, going up against Eric Fetty, who has turned it around a little bit. I'm not going to lie, 0 earned runs in 2 straight starts now, and that's 9 and 5.2 shutout innings versus Washington and Philadelphia. In the 2 starts prior, though, he gave up 10 earned runs. And then we got Luzardo versus Sensatella. Guys, I laugh every time I see Sensatella. He's given up 8+ hits in 7 of 9 starts. He is barely a AAA pitcher, and he continues to be rolled out every 5th day in Colorado. 15.3 hits per 9 innings. That's just rude. Do we have to send him out there every 5 days? Either way, I love it. I've cashed a couple bets. But Lorenzen going up against Hayden Birdsong, who has usually been a bullpen guy, going to be starting. He's not going to go deep into the game. Probably get 3, maybe 4 innings out of him. But then we got Kyle Hendricks versus Hoglund. That's right. This will be his 4th start. Hoglund's been decent so far, to be honest. Giving up 6, 5, and 7 hits, but hasn't looked too bad with an average K rate. And then Ryan Nelson versus Yamamoto. Yamamoto, he's struggling a little bit. Finally showing some cracks. Still a 2.12 ERA, but giving up 8 earned runs in his last 2 starts alone versus Arizona and the A's. He only gave up 4 total earned runs in the other 7 starts combined. So it's been a rough go for the last couple, but obviously he has been pretty solid. So there's all the averages on the bottom to help you out, and that's all the research help we got. Now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to Pittsburgh, where the Pirates host the Cincinnati Reds. Reds on the money line -122, Pirates on the money line +104 with a total of 8.5 runs. I'm going to keep this simple. Give me the Reds on the money line -122 on FanDuel, 4.5 unit. I don't really understand this line, honestly. I know the Reds have burned me. I've made fun of them before. But again, it's the Pirates. I'm getting -122 to fade a 15-33 Pirates team with Bailey Falter on the mound. I got to take this. So let's talk starting pitcher matchup. Nick Martinez versus that Bailey Falter. Martinez, he's been worse on the road, which is a little bit of a worry here. But he's facing one of the worst, if not the very worst offense in baseball. More on that in a bit. But he's done well versus weaker offenses. 0 earned runs versus the White Sox, 1 versus the Nationals, 2 earned runs versus the Marlins. So he's been fine there. He has elite command, 5.4% walk rate, a solid 1.16 whip. So not giving up a ton of base runners. Average K rate. He's just, he's been average overall. Obviously, you want to tail him a little bit more when he's at home. But let's talk Bailey Falter. Coming off 3 solid starts in a row after struggling in the 2 prior starts. High walk rate, below average K rate like Martinez, but more on the matchup with the Reds in a little bit. I think we see Falter come back down to earth, honestly. The Reds do not need to score many runs here. So offenses, the Pirates, this is, guys, I don't even know what to say. They've scored 4 or less runs in an insane 42 of 48 games this year. 88% of the time they are scoring 4 or less runs. That's got to be tough to watch as a Pirates fan. But 4 or less in 78% of home games, under 3.5 runs in 60% of games. And then the last 3 weeks versus righties, second lowest WRC plus, second lowest batting average, hitting 198 versus righties, the lowest slugging in the league. This team is just so bad. They don't have power. They don't have anything. It's an abomination, to be honest with you. But Skeens is not going to last long here. Either way, Reds versus lefties in the last 3 weeks. It has not been pretty for them either. They're bottom 5 in WRC plus in most categories. But the difference is the Reds have hit Falter well. He's struggled against these guys. You've seen some of the hitter matchups. Stevenson, Spencer Steer, Ellie De La Cruz, Espinal, and TJ Friedel. They are combined 23 for 53 off Bailey Falter for 433 average. Again, great history. You'd love to see that's within the division. They know Bailey Falter, so I don't, it's one thing to see them struggle versus lefties. They face some tough lefties as well, but they've shown that they can hit Bailey Falter. And even then, let's just say they struggle. The Pirates are more than likely going to struggle like they always do. Even if we get a 1-1, 2-2 type game going to the bullpens, the Reds fully rested here, and they're going to have their best arms. Let's be honest, the Reds bullpen's pretty good this year. I don't usually say that, but they are. And the Pirates, you just saw the fifth highest ERA this month. David Bednar and Holderman will probably be unavailable. I mean, this Pirates bullpen is a mess, just like their offense is. And then so overall, I just think the Reds find a way to pull out this win. The Pirates have found ways to lose this year. Their bullpen is miserable. Their starting pitchers, been hit and miss, but their offense, when you have an offense like theirs, they have a very small margin for error. They cannot make mistakes because if they give up one swing that gives up 2 or 3 runs to the other team, they might be toast because that's how bad their offense is. So give me the Cincinnati Reds on the money line as my first best bet. All right, this second one takes us out to Miami, Florida, where the Marlins host the Chicago Cubbies. Cubs on the money line -155. Marlins on the money line +130 with a total of 8.5 runs. Sorry if you see my eyes like getting red. This light is bright on me right now. But either way, over 8.5 runs is my best bet. -105 on BetMGM. It's a half unit play for me here. We've cashed some overs in Miami already, but you may not know this. Guess who the top 2 over teams are in the MLB right now? It's the Cubs and the Marlins. 63% for the Cubs to the over, 61% to the Marlins to the over. It's a kind of low total, honestly, for the 2 highest over teams with this matchup. And then games in Miami are going over at the 7th highest rate. Starting pitcher matchup, Jameson Taillon versus Ryan Weathers. Taillon mightily struggling on the road. This is why I love this over as well. 25.2 innings on the road. How about a 5.96 ERA with a 2.76 average against? Only an 18.8% K rate on the road. His whip goes from on the road, so whip goes from 0.83 at home to 1.36 on the road, a 4.24 xFIP on the road. He just hasn't been good, let's face it. He's been a very hittable starting pitcher when he leaves Wrigley. And sometimes in Wrigley, and he's had a couple of those starts where the wind's blowing in. It's a little easier to pitch, hitting is hard. But Ryan Weathers only made 1 start this year, and it was against this exact same Cubs team, which is never good for a pitcher. But he gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run. Looked good, but when you have to face a top 5 offense, it's twice in 1 week. It's not pretty. Last season, 4 expected ERA with an average K rate, slightly above average pitcher last year. In case you don't know much about him, he did give up a 4.19 slugging to righties. Struggled a little bit more against them. And he's also struggled at home. Last year in Miami, how about a 6.15 ERA? So that's something to keep in mind. In his 1 start, well, it's in Chicago with the wind blowing in, so that did help as well. But offenses, Cubs, middle of the pack lately versus lefties in the last few weeks with their 12th in slugging. But seeing the same starting pitcher for the second time obviously is going to help immensely. They're going to make some adjustments, and they got guys who can hit. We know that, especially with Crow Armstrong right there at the top, who's coming off a hitless game. I expect him to bounce back as well. But Marlins, 20th WRC plus last 3 weeks versus righties, but at home they're the 15th in the last 3 weeks. Stowers has been a beast. They got some hitters on this team, even with Xavier Edwards hurt. I still trust them to get some runs here at home, which is where they hit. And then bullpens, honestly, if we only have like a 2-2, 3-2 game heading to the 6th, I still got confidence because there should be some runs scored off these bullpens. The Cubs bullpen, not very good, and then they're also tired. Palencia was used on Monday after just blowing the save. Presley, Thielbar, and Pomeranz all through as well yesterday. Marlins bullpen, they've been average, but Henriquez, who's been throwing well for them, just threw 2 days in a row. Only 24 total pitches, so I don't know if we'll see him for a 3rd straight day, but just something to keep in mind. And like I said, these 2 bullpens have struggled all year long, so it's not like they're anything to really worry about. They don't have a bunch of arms that are coming and shut the door, as we just saw yesterday when the game was like 8-7 on a Marlins walk-off, just a crazy amount of runs. So overall, I think both starters and bullpens give up some runs here. These are two of the 2 best over teams in the league for a reason. Give me the over 8.5 as my second best bet. All right, bet number 3 is a very familiar bet from yesterday. That's right, we are running this ish back. Give me the Phillies team total over 4.5, Arizona team total over 2.5, another 1-unit play. Got this at +100 on DraftKings. I don't need to be that long on this one because, like I said, we talked about it before. But Phillies team total over 4.5. The line is actually 6.5. Obviously, this is an alt line. But seriously, I expect the Phillies to get 5+ runs off Senzatella himself. If you don't know Senzi, he's maybe the worst starting pitcher on the slate today and every day, honestly. He's a glorified batting practice pitcher. I don't know how else to say it. Like I said, he's given up 8+ hits like every single start. You saw the numbers earlier. He's also given up 4 or more earned runs in 6 of his last 7 starts. That is not good. Phillies lineup should easily score 5+ runs off Senzatella and this horrendous Rockies bullpen in Coors Field. Again, team total set at 6.5. I don't mind that either on its own. I think they score 8 to 10 in this one, but I'm going to take them at 4.5 here. So then we go to Arizona, team total over 2.5. Their team total is set at 3.5. I almost went with that one by itself as well. I think it's a pretty good one. I'm just going to take it down to 2.5 just in case, because they are facing Yamamoto. Now, obviously one of the best pitchers in the league, if not the best, but this Arizona offense is different because they have seen him a lot. They just saw him on May 8th, and guess what they did? 6 hits and 5 runs off of him. So I know they can get to him. Like we talked about before, Yamamoto has struggled in his last 2 starts, also struggled versus the A's. And this Arizona offense is one of the best in the league. They've scored 3+ runs in 38 of 48 games, 3+ runs in 18 of 22 road games. Just put up a million runs in Game 1 on Monday. They hit this Dodgers team, staff and bullpen very well. They've scored 3+ runs now in 16 of the last 18 games versus the Dodgers. They're a top 5 offense for a reason. Again, I don't think this bullpen for the Dodgers is pitching well at all. They are just getting rocked left and right. And 3 runs. Again, we're not asking for much. Even if they have 2 runs by the time Yamamoto's out in the 5th or 6th, all they need is 1 more off this Dodgers bullpen. I like it. So another 1 unit play. Give me the Phils team total over 4.5. Arizona team total over 2.5. That's my 3rd and final best bet. Again, I like both of these team totals individually if you want to play single bets on that as well. But that's what we got for all the best bets today. There will be more in the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. The 3 best bets so far. The Reds on the money line, -122 for a half unit. Over 8.5 runs, Cubs and Marlins for a half unit. And then the same bet as yesterday. Phillies team total over 4.5. Arizona D-backs team total over 2.5. Put it together, alt line +100 on DraftKings. That is a 1 unit play. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I really appreciate the support. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And go check out that NBA best bets video for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. But thanks again. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk to you soon.